G'day guys, welcome to the second episode of the Kozzie Bros podcast. Now, you typed, we listened, there are subtitles probably right here, right now. You're going to have expressions coming up every so often, like, I don't know.
Here and there.
I don't know exactly what we're going to put up. Maybe something like cheers big ears or something like that. I don't know. But we're back.
We're back. Yes.
Back. And we're ready to entertain you guys. Thanks for the comments. They were really helpful. And what did you think of the first episode, Kihoon?
Honestly, I thought that was going to be my first and last episode.
Oh,
But
yeah.
since there were so many comments and you guys really liked the content, Walter invited me back. So I think I'll be a regular.
Yes, I was going to fire him, but since it did so well for the first episode, we're back again to do it. And today, you guys said we could talk about anything, but we do have a subject in mind. And I thought we'd talk about our school days in Australia.
Oh, good old school days.
Good old school days, if we can remember them, because we're both quite old and it's been a while. When did you graduate high school?
Oh, that's a very good question.
It was 2005 for me.
It was, for me, I think 2008?
Maybe, yeah.
6, 7? No idea. I need to find out. But I'll find out.
When, how long were you in Australia for schooling?
So I went there in 1996.
Okay.
So I think I went to primary. So we call it primary school.
Yeah.
I think in America they say elementary school.
Elementary school, because it's just primary and high school in Australia.
Yeah. So there's no middle school.
Yeah.
So it was just I think I started primary school in 96. Started year 1.
Yeah. Yes, that would have been.
I'm not good at math, so I'm really bad at.
That's why you failed school.
Yeah. I did all right in English, but math I was always in the bottom. So. I don't know. If you do your math, I don't know when I...
Did you graduate high school in Australia?
Yes, I did graduate
okay.
from... I think a lot of Australians would know Epping Boys.
Okay.
It is famous for having a lot of drop kicks.
Okay.
Yeah, including myself.
Yeah, including this guy over here.
But it was a boys' school, so we had a lot of fun. In a different way. But yeah, I graduated from Epping Boys. Went to Carlingford West.
Yep.
I graduated from Carlingford West Primary School, and then I went to Pennant Hills. I'm not sure I'm sure you're not familiar with these school names, but I went to Pennant Hills, and then I came to Korea for about 1 year.
Yeah.
To play soccer, and then I came back to Australia, and then went to Epping Boys, and ended up graduating there. Yeah.
But the difference between Kihoon and I is, I did my schooling mainly in the countryside, my primary school and high school, whereas Kihoon did it in the city. For me, I went to, there's so many bugs right now. You would not believe how many bugs.
We have a lot of viewers coming in.
Yeah.
Live.
Jeez.
Yes.
So for me, I went to a few different schools. Actually lived in New South Wales for a couple of years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. In Nowra and then in Canberra for 5 or 6 years of my early life. And then I moved to Queensland, where I moved to a little area called Gatton, which is...
Gatton?
Yeah, it's this very small... a lot of Koreans actually go there these days to work on the farms.
For working holiday.
I
see.
So if you've heard of Gatton, then you know where I'm talking about. But my school was called Kentville State School. It was a school of 70-odd kids.
70?
Yeah, 70. Your elementary school must have had hundreds, right?
Oh, more.
Yeah.
200-300, I think.
Yeah, for my elementary school, 70 kids. It was my class was 3-4 kids at a time.
Really?
Yeah, it was tiny. Then I moved and graduated to high school at Lockyer District High School, which was 500 kids around that at the time. Still quite small compared to the city. But I kind of had the country experience, whereas you had the city experience.
Well, kind of the city.
Yeah, you would have
close
had
to the city.
More multicultural kind of class,
yeah.
right?
I had a lot of, like I said in the first episode, I had a lot of Indian friends, Sri Lankans, and also a lot of Lebanese as well. Of course, a lot of Australians, but a lot of Chinese, people from Hong Kong as well. We used to call them honkies.
Honkies?
Yeah.
I wonder if they enjoy that. We'll see if they know if they like that or not. But me, it was either two races. It was either white Australian or Aboriginal Australian. And then there was me. And
white, black, yellow.
Yeah, white, black, yellow.
Sorry.
But I was the only yellow. So, but it was so different for me. Like in elementary school in Korea, I don't know in your primary school in Sydney, but in primary school in Australia, we don't get our meals served to us. We have to bring our meals.
You have to pack your own lunch.
Pack your own lunch.
Yeah.
Did you do that as well?
Yeah, we had to either pack our own lunches or there was a canteen.
Your canteen.
We call it canteen, but I'm sure Americans call it a cafeteria or something. But
a cafeteria.
Yeah, but we had a canteen. It's same as a cafeteria, basically. You can buy anything you want during, there was recess.
Yes, which is then little break.
And then we had lunch. So we had two breaks.
Yeah.
Short break and the long break. So you can also buy something during recess, but we only had, I think, 10 minutes. But I would still line up to get something. Because I was a fat, chubby Asian kid who loved, his hash browns, sausage rolls, meat pies. So I'll always tell my mom, you don't have to pack my lunch.
Yeah.
All right, you can just relax, but just give me the money.
Oh,
I need lunch money. So she would always give me lunch money.
You're
and also
so
there was one
lucky.
more thing. I remember now. We had those what do you call it? Like brown paper bags.
Yes.
You'll write your name.
Yes.
And like the menu you want. And like a kid will go around collecting those bags.
Yeah.
And at lunchtime, he'll bring it back with the food you ordered.
I remember that very clearly.
Yeah, it was kind of like a delivery service.
It was. Do you I don't know about you, but like my mum used to write it with like a texter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the smell of the texter reminds me. Every time I smell a texter or a marker,
sorry.
Every time I got a texter or a marker, I could remember Tuck Shop because for me, it's also called Tuck Shop as well, not canteen in some places.
Okay.
But Tuck Shop or canteen for me was like for my birthday.
Oh, really?
Because my parents did not want to pay my lunch money. Instead, they would pack my lunch
every single day.
That's
a lot of work, though.
And it is for my mum.
Pack for you?
Well, here's the thing. Like everyone knows, I grew up with white parents. Jesus, there's a lot of. There's so many live viewers right now.
Wow.
For me, because my parents were Australian, I grew up with the really Aussie style lunchbox. And that was a Vegemite sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, yes.
A muesli bar. Now, what is a muesli bar? It's like a granola bar, isn't it?
Yeah, in Korea, Koreans call it like energy bar.
Oh, yeah, it's like an energy bar.
Energy bar, but same thing.
Yeah, and also a popper. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what a popper is, do they have poppers here in Korea?
Oh, for little kids, yeah.
For little kids, they do. It's like, I guess Americans call them juice boxes.
Juice boxes.
Yeah. So they're basically a box, like you will see them in like in 편의점's, like
stores, yeah.
Yeah, with maybe like the almond milk or something like that. Yeah. But they would have juice in them instead. And the reason why we call them poppers is we used to, after drinking them, blow them up, put them on the ground, stamp on them, and they just go bang.
Yeah, it'll just blow up.
And we call them poppers.
Yeah.
But that was sort of my lunch experience. It was very Aussie. My parents would never give me the expensive shit. Like, they would always give me the really cheap, like, no brand kind of stuff. So in school, like, the thing was to trade food. Like, hey, I'll trade you this muesli bar for your roll-up.
Yeah.
Like, a roll-up is sort of like I don't know what to call it, but it's like a very stretchy candy. Yeah. I'll have a picture of it.
It's very chewy as well.
Very chewy, very delicious. But since I had the cheap stuff, nobody wanted to trade with me. Nobody. So
I know how you feel, because talking about just trading, I think in Korea, long time ago, like students would pack their own lunches and they would share it.
Yeah.
They would share all their food in a circle, you know, among close friends. And they would say, hey, what'd you bring today?
Yeah.
What'd you bring? And then it was kind of like a pride issue as well.
Yes.
Like if you brought in like a lot of food, like sausages and like a lot of meat, people would like you and think, oh, he must be from like a rich background.
Yeah.
But if you came with like just rice and just Kim
rice and Kim in a bottle of water,
they'll be like, oh, man, he must be poor. So I think it's same with Australia, but obviously we traded things. Like, you want this, and they'll be like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah. So, I got a lot of that. How about, like, did your parents ever pack your lunch at all?
Oh, she did. My mum did.
What did she pack usually?
The good old kimbap.
Kimbap?
You can't go wrong with kimbap, but it did go wrong back then.
So, like, kimbap in an Australian school, were you, like, teased for it, or was it, like...
Hell yeah. I was so teased. I was bullied, actually. They were like, what the f*** is that?
Yeah.
It smells weird. It looks weird. Obviously, they didn't want to taste it. So I was actually quite embarrassed to bring kimbap. And I was very hurt, actually, and upset. So I went home and told Mum, do not pack me kimbap ever again. And she got upset as well.
Oh, really?
She was very hurt. I kind of regret saying that as well. But ever since then, she would actually buy me KFC or like burgers. And then I'll be so happy. I'm like, oh, give me the burger, Mum.
Yeah.
And then I realized a few years later, I was like, why did I do that? Like, she went through all that trouble to wake up early to pack. Because kimbap, I mean, it's not something you can make in like a few minutes.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Preparation. And like now, I love kimbap. I think everyone around the world loves kimbap.
Yeah, I don't think...
Over sushi now, or sashimi, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I think that now, like, it's... When we were younger, you know, Asian cuisine and Asian food was not so popular back then. And
it was only, like, Japanese or Chinese.
Exactly.
They didn't have
mainly
Korean
Chinese.
Yeah,
Korean food was barely a thing until, like, I guess maybe the early 2010s or something. But, like, for me, I never experienced, like, other cultured food in my schooling, because as I said, all it was just like white people and Aboriginal people.
Aussie.
Yeah, exactly. Oi. But even in my high school that had like 500, there were a few like Asians, and there were a couple of different like Middle Easterners, but they would also have the Aussie food as well. It must have been just the city that had all that diverse food.
I see. Yeah, it is. Because I also remember... I think every year we had this multicultural day.
Yeah.
So because we had so many people from like all over the world, the teachers would tell us, hey, bring a food, like a traditional food.
Yeah.
From your country.
Yeah.
Whatever is like really famous or like popular. So I remember bringing in, Mom actually cooked bulgogi. I'm sure
nice.
all of our viewers know what bulgogi is now. But back then they were like, ooh, what is this?
Yeah.
It looks kind of like, it looks meaty, but they weren't familiar with it. They weren't kind of used to that kind of texture and obviously the smell, whatever. And once they tried it, they were like, oh, this is so delicious. I love bulgogi. They were always like,
bulgogi.
Bring some bulgogi. I'm like, oh, so they actually appreciate Korean food. So that was kind of my first experience of, you know, people liking Korean food. So it started with bulgogi, and then we had the japchae, which is like the Korean noodle, like side dish.
Yes.
And then they started liking kimbap as well. So it's quite ironic, you know. At first, like among your friends, they'll be like, "Oh, what is that? Like seaweed? It smells weird, fishy." And then the teachers tried it, and they were like, "Oh, it's very delicious."
Yeah.
And since the adults liked it, the kids automatically, you know,
liked it as well.
It. So I was like, hey, this is Korean food. That's when I started feeling some kind of pride being a Korean, yeah.
Were you a good student or were you a bad student, do you think?
Look at me. And I look very smart, intelligent.
Yes.
I was actually quite shy. I was a shy kid.
Okay.
I was very quiet. I would always sit at the back, not really participate, and just be, you know, a little quiet at times. Most times.
Yeah.
But that's why I started playing sports. And that's how I got to know a lot of white kids. Like, I started hanging around like real Australians, and they all love sports, right?
Yeah, of course.
We talked about this before, cricket, rugby, and so on.
Yeah.
And that's how I just became like a bit more confident in myself.
Yeah.
I was not too bad.
Yeah.
I was physically coordinated, so they would actually like me and accept me. So that's when I became... I felt a bit of a personality change through playing sports, so I became a bit more confident in my English as well, just picked up the language eventually.
So when you moved to Australia, how old were you?
I was 7 actually.
And did you speak any English at that point?
아니요.
아니요?
영어 몰랐어요. 아예
몰랐어요?
I had no idea, like zero English.
Like, so you...
Even my Korean wasn't that perfect. It's like...
A 7-year-old Korean.
I mean, it's just, what do you expect?
So like you basically went straight into a school with zero English.
Yeah, like white school. It wasn't like for Asian kids, like Korean kids, 1.5 generation. It was just like a pure, just 100% like white school, like a normal primary school.
Wow, it's like, because I know that they have like conversion schools like for like children who don't speak English as their first language. So it will be sort of like an ESL kind of school.
Oh, but I was part of like the ESL class as well. Inside that school, they had separate classes like ESL classes for dumb kids like me who weren't very good at English.
Not dumb.
Like fobs, yeah.
Yeah, fresh off the
So
ropes.
I had like separate English lessons within those lessons.
Well, see, that obviously was never... That didn't happen to me until my early 20s when I moved to Korea, where I had to learn everything back...
The other way around.
The other way around.
Okay.
And as adults, we're slower to learn languages unless you're a genius, which I'm not. But yeah, at least like you were able to pick up the language pretty quickly, right?
Like I say, I'm really bad with numbers, but I think like linguistics-wise, like language-wise, I think that part of the brain is a little more developed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom, Dad. But
Excellent.
like, it was just something that I naturally picked up. And like, I'm okay with Korean as well.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people in Korea, after they hear my Korean, they're like, are you sure you're from Australia?
Yeah.
And I just say, I'm just a Korean who's really good at English. I'm not an Australian. I'm just a Korean who's really good at English. That's what I say.
That's the thing, like even with me, even if I don't speak Korean, like my Korean is very poor, but like everyone goes, oh, you're such a good English speaker. I'm like, yeah, it's because that's my first language.
You look so Korean.
I look so Korean.
Because what we did was, the other day, we shared our high school, actually more primary school photos.
Which we'll put up right now.
And I saw his pictures, I was like, wow, he looks so Aussie. Like those, Asian Australians.
Yep.
Like all my friends kind of look like you as well.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my picture, I was like, my photo was totally different. Like, I just look like those, kind of not rich, but like kind of well-off, chubby, ugly Asian kid.
You're a cute kid. You're a cute kid.
Did I look cute?
You're a cute kid.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
But here's the thing, like, I found it funny that you had like the frosted, like blonde tips that were like spiky.
Because I want it to be white, have yellow hair.
That makes a lot of sense.
I want it to blend in.
Oh, for me. I had so many terrible haircuts over the years, but there's something that we had in common was we were really tanned back then.
We were
really tanned. Not so much these days, but back then we were just like brown, basically.
But we had to be like,
the
sunlight's like super strong. Like even if you put sunscreen on every day, you'll just get tanned naturally.
That's the difference.
You'll turn brown.
That's the difference between like a Korean Australian and like a Korean. Like in Korea, most of the time, a very pale skin. Quite white skin.
Yeah, pasty.
Yeah, but as soon as you move to Australia, you get this tan from the sun because you can't avoid it. Even in the winter, it's just like beaming down on you 24/7.
Like, I love the sunlight, but I think if you live in Korea, you don't get the suntan, you get the moon tan. Because we're always active at night.
Yeah.
You don't really receive too much sunlight, but I love the sunlight.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss the Australian sunlight as well. That strong, like, scorches through your skin. You get a skin burn, like sunburn.
Skin cancer. Yeah.
You should get skin cancer.
For people who don't know, we should have really introduced this. We're actually at Han River, if you haven't noticed already. Like, literally, the Han River is right behind us, and you can probably see Seoul Tower maybe in the background there. That's actually going to be a theme of our podcast, is that we're going to be, since we don't have a studio, we're going to make Seoul our studio.
Oh yeah.
So next week we'll go to a different location and shoot from there. The week after we'll shoot at a different location, shoot it from there. If you have any sort of maybe recommendations on where we should shoot, please leave it in the comments as well.
Some of your viewers might own their own studios.
Yeah. If you do,
that's an idea.
Hit us up. We'd love to go into your studio. But that's the theme I kind of want to do as well, was like have this sort of relaxed kind of like you're camping in Australia with the deck, with these sort of like very cheap Starbucks chairs.
That's why it's not very comfortable. We might look very comfortable, laid back, but my back's really sore.
If you're a camping chair company, you could probably sponsor us, and that would be fantastic. Just because.
Starbucks should just make coffee, not camping chairs. Anyway,
the last sort of thing I want to talk about is like, because this is something that I had all the time, was detention. Now, detention...
Oh, I love that word.
Yes. What it means basically is that it's like when you're bad, you have to stay behind class and write lines or pick up rubbish or Or
I remember picking up a lot of rubbish.
Yeah.
I did help the environment. I made it much cleaner, especially my school, like playgrounds. So obviously if you get detention, you have to either stay back after school,
Yeah.
or like during recess or lunchtime, you had to pick up like X amount of rubbish, and you had to
Yeah.
show it to your teacher in charge.
Yeah.
And I would always show my teacher, I picked up 20, like
Yeah.
5 more.
5 more.
Because I was an Asian kid, I don't know why.
I used to get lines a lot. So lines is like you write on a piece of paper, I will not be bad, like 100
Like
times.
Bart Simpson.
Like Bart Simpson, like The Simpsons.
Oh no.
I would do that so much to the point where it just, most of my recess and most of my lunches were taken up by detention. I was a pretty bad, I talked a lot in class.
No, so was that the reason why you got in trouble? Just talking a lot?
I talked back to the teacher. I talked a lot in class. I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't a great student, to be honest with you. I was very loud and I was sort of like really outgoing back in the day and annoying.
You mean like ADHD?
Yeah, I mean very much ADHD. So I would annoy the teachers to hell. And so for me, detention was a regular thing. But luckily, as I got older, university, you don't get detention, so it's fine.
You just fail.
You just fail.
They just fail you.
But yeah, for me, detention was a regular thing in primary school. It was a regular thing in high school. I don't think kindergarten did it, but there's possibly a chance I could have gotten detention in like daycare as well. And I think I just ate a bug. So nice.
So I think
protein.
like we used to call those group of kids like rebels.
Yep.
Not all maybe drop kicks, but I used to call them rebels and the bad kids. Like kids who couldn't concentrate in class.
Good kid, bad kid.
I don't think I was that good, but I did kind of mature.
Oh yeah.
As I aged, because I have an older brother, and we used to go to the same school as well.
Yeah.
And he was a smart one.
Yeah.
He was an intelligent, smart Asian kid
Okay.
who was good at math.
Yeah.
Like complete opposite to me. And then I kind of looked up to him. I'm like, hey, maybe it's good to be smart. People accept you more, and they acknowledge your, intelligence. So I thought maybe I should, start studying. So when I did start studying, I got the hang of it. So I didn't get in trouble. I was actually, focused on my academics, like for a few years.
Yeah.
Until puberty hit.
And
let's
then
not talk about puberty. Anyway, so going back to, schooling days. Yeah, I got into a lot of trouble because, I did smoke as well during high school.
Yep.
And even between, we used to call it like first period, second period.
Yeah.
Like first class, second class. So even between periods, I would have a cigarette.
Oh really? Yeah.
And I would stink. And like teachers knew that I smoked.
Yeah.
But they didn't say anything because I would just like spray myself with cologne, but it was kind of stupid. Like,
did you used to get like the Lynx deodorant spray?
And do like, play with fire.
Play with fire. I used to also like, high school was the time where I used to smoke a lot as well. And yeah, they could smell it on me, but what they couldn't do is they couldn't do anything unless they caught me red-handed.
Right.
So, and there was this silly rule actually, especially for the seniors, that if you weren't wearing your uniform, you were allowed to smoke. So what a lot of kids would do is like while they're waiting for the buses, they'd go across the street, even though the teachers would see them, take off the top of their uniform and then smoke there, and the teachers couldn't do anything. So that was sort of the difference for the seniors. The juniors were not allowed to smoke at all.
I'll tell you something funny. Like, I think in Korea, a lot of students, not to get the smell on their body or hands, fingers, etc., they'll use chopsticks.
No way.
Chopsticks. Like before you break them apart, you literally just stick your cigarette between the chopsticks, and they'll just hold the chopsticks and smoke it.
Oh, that's a very smart
idea. In
idea.
Australia, what we did was, because we didn't have chopsticks, we had those train tickets, the paper train tickets.
That's right.
So we would use that as kind of like a chopstick and just use it as like a handle as well.
Yeah.
And just smoke from holding the tickets. And I remember doing that as well. But at the end of the day, your breath is going to stink like cigarettes.
Exactly.
So it was very silly. Just because people, my mom used to say, "Give me your fingers."
Yeah.
And she would smell my fingers to to check whether I smoked or not.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, smell my fingers. I don't smell. And she'll be like, your hair smells.
You can never hide cigarette smell.
Yeah.
Like, I remember whenever I smoke, I'm surprised my parents actually never caught me because I used to smell so bad of
They
smoke.
probably just, put a blind eye.
Yeah. I mean, I hang around the wrong group. You matured, you hung around your brother and he got you to study. I hung around people who, drank alcohol and smoked cigarettes all day. So underage, yeah. But anyway, that wraps it up for today, I think. And let us know what you think. Now we have subtitles. I believe that there are also Korean subtitles if you're not too familiar with English. If not, I'll cut that bit out and then you won't know about it. But anyway, there should be both English and Korean subtitles. Let us know what you think. Tell us about your experiences at school growing up in Korea, also in Australia.
And I've noticed food as well, like
food as
how
well.
You pack your lunch.
Yeah, because I've seen a few comments giving their experiences as well.
It was very interesting.
So very interesting. Let us know where we'll be next week. I don't know, but it's going to be in a different location. If you have any suggestions, let us know. And Kihoon, please take us out.
Yes. So click the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment. Nice comments. If you want to leave bad comments, it has to be really bad to piss me off.
Yeah, we got to cry at least. But we'll let you know if we cry. But anyway, that wraps it up for today, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode of Kozzie Bros.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Woo.